Hi, I'm Alexis, and we're at Britt Fest today talking with our soloists for tomorrow night's Britt Orchestra Eastern Inspiration program, which features a Mahler piece entitled The Song of the Earth, and these are our guest vocalists that are talking with us today a little bit about Mahler and their experience as traveling soloists. And we're with Tamara Mumford and Richard Cox. And so we just kind of want to get an idea of what you guys do the rest of the year. What does your next few weeks look like? What have you just come from doing?
Okay, go ahead, please.
Sure. I do a lot of concert work, so a lot of things like this. I get to sing a lot of Mahler. This year, after this, I'll go to do a couple other concerts at Bard. I'll do Romeo and Juliet, and then I'll go to Tanglewood for Beethoven 9. And then after that, actually, the two of us will be at the Met together in a production of The Magic Flute with James Levine. And then through the rest of the season, I will do another few concerts. Actually, another Das Lied von der Erde in LA, as well as a recital at the Frick in New York City in the spring. So a lot of exciting things. What's your favorite?
Actually, in sort of the same sort of venue that we sort of. It sounds like we both are this sort of the three-pronged singers that we do concerts. We also do recitals, and then I also do opera. So it's a pretty good balance. With Mahler, Mahler doesn't have a whole lot for tenor, so you sort of have to dive in the deep end with Das Lied von der Erde, and it's a really interesting experience with the text and things like that. So I've done 6 of them this season. So
which is crazy, by the way. When you told me that, I was like, "You did 6 this season?"
So
many.
A Song of the Earth.
Yes, right. So he's like, "Yeah, I'll do this season." I'm
but
like lagging behind here. Somebody hire me for more Das Lieds.
But it's a really great piece. It's really fun, and it's so interesting to have it interspersed within operatic repertoire, which I've sung Das Rheingold several times this past season, and then I also did Streetcar Named Desire, which is a more modern piece, and then I also did a recital recently at Dichterliebe, Schumann's Dichterliebe in New York, and so I kind of balance it out. It's a lot of fun. But the next thing is the Met for me, so I'm looking forward to being back there and getting to do this on Saturday. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
So out of all of those different areas that you dabble in, what are areas that you hope to do more of in the near future, or like 5-year plan?
You know, I feel like they each hold something that's totally different and unique, and I can't imagine saying, you know, now I'm doing only concerts. I can't imagine limiting myself in that way, because they all bring such different kind of joys to me and fulfill a different part of myself, you know? And so I feel just fortunate that I get to do as much of all 3 things as I get to do, you know?
And for me, it's a little more difficult because the concert repertoire, especially, there's not so much for tenors out there as there are for mezzi. I think that it's a really wonderful wealth of repertoire that gets performed a lot for them, where they are the only soloist. And there's very few pieces that are like that for tenor. So Das Lied von der Erde has provided me an opportunity to do this kind of performing, which I really missed. I'd done a lot of Beethoven 9s in the beginning of my career, but I'd had sort of like a little 5-year hiatus, and now I get to do this. So I love the balance. I like doing all 3. It makes a big difference to me.
So what is it like performing the same piece with different conductors, like working with Teddy the second year in a row for you?
Well, I mean, I think a piece like this I've done, let's see, this will be my 4th, I think, so I've done it with a few different conductors, and it is interesting to see just the different things that they bring out in it, you know, and some I agree with more than others, but I think for the most part, as an artist, you get used to being flexible and being able to make artistic choices with the conductor, kind of combining your ideas to make something that feels good for the both of you, to the 2 of you, and I think that's one of the exciting things, or one of the fulfilling parts of this job, is that it's changing. You know, the composer wrote what they wrote, but the conductor gets to interpret that in the way they want to, and as the artist, you can learn from that and make it different each time that you sing it. And I think it brings out different parts of the text when a conductor does it a different way, or you hear different parts of the orchestration that you didn't notice before when you're with a new group, with a new orchestra. And I think that's I mean, you were just saying that last night because you were hearing parts that you're like, I've done this 6 times this season, and this is different than what
It was really
expected.
incredible. I've never worked with Teddy. This is my first time, and I found it incredibly fresh and just a new sort of interpretive ability that I'm hearing with the ensemble of the orchestra, and then what they're doing with us. It's rather amazing. I mean, I feel like sometimes as a performer you can do this and you feel like without naming names, you're working with someone who may be hearing a recording in their head, and instead of what's actually happening in the living artistic thing that's happening on stage together. And he is not like that at all. There are several points in your piece, one of your pieces that I was listening to last night, I was like, I've never heard it that way. And then it made me like kind of grab my score and look through it, and I was like,
oh, that is there.
That's there like that. And that's the amazing thing I'm finding with Mahler. Is the fact that it is all there, but there's a lot of it there.
Yeah.
So sometimes you sort of pick and choose, but he's really pretty great about finding these nuances that I just didn't realize were there.
And bringing out different kind of textures that you didn't hear before. And I think we're fortunate in this case in that the orchestra has had, they've had a few rehearsals on the piece before we even got here. So when we got here, I felt like the orchestra was really at a high level already. You know, a lot of times you get to a concert job and they're all reading it for the first time, and you're there, you know, you're all learning together. But so it's kind of a luxury, I think, to be like, oh, you all sound great. You know?
Absolutely, yeah, they're really fantastic and a wonderful ensemble. I'm finding, and I always love doing it when the cellos are right next to me. It makes a big difference for me. And so when it's that arrangement on stage, I'm just like, yay!
All right. Makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And then you guys, for contemporary works, do you have any favorites that you've done lately, or like composers that you really want to work with?
Well, I guess I could take a lead here. So I guess it's not so recent now. It's been several years, but I've worked on this project with John Adams called "The Gospel According to the Other Mary," which was a really interesting project. I played the role of Martha, Mary's sister, and it was just really. We did it just recently in Berlin this last season, so I feel like it's fresh on my mind, and I'll do it again in DC in January. But I think it was, or actually maybe that's in March. Anyway, but it really is nice to work with a living composer and to find out what they were thinking when they wrote it a certain way, or to have them as being there as part of the process to say, you know, well, they can tweak things according to how it fits in your voice or how it feels. So I mean, that's the most recent thing for me.
Contemporary composers don't often use my voice type for things, so I think the last time I really sort of did a new opera, I did the Two Boys at the Metropolitan Opera with Nico Muhlig. So they did a lot of, and I did a small role in that, but it was really interesting to see how that piece was taken from English National Opera, and it was sort of this size, and they kept expanding it for the Met, because of course it's a much larger stage, and it's a bigger, it's much more of a grand house, and it was really interesting to be a part of that process.
Well, I think it's nice though to be able to do both contemporary things and older things. You know, I just did the Sariaco piece also with Kaina Sariaco, who and she was at the Met working with us as we rehearsed it. And there is something so nice about having the composer. I'm sure you've had the same with Nico, when you have the composer there while you're rehearsing, that can kind of add things or give you an idea of the meaning behind things that they wrote. And then, you know, you contrast that with doing something like Mahler, where you have what's on the page. I mean, luckily in Mahler's case, he wrote so much in the score of what he meant, you know, so you could, but you really have to go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was thinking what you were talking about how we work with composers there. It's sort of our job when we're doing something like Mahler is to find the experts within our field who can trace the lineage back and know what he did. I myself, when I first started working, I studied with the great American tenor, Thomas Moser, who had sung it with Schulte and all of these other wonderful conductors, and the wealth of information that he gave me was just unbelievable. And I still go back sometimes to some of those lessons, and I'm like, okay, right, I get that now. So it's really, you know, we're very lucky to find people occasionally in our lives to make up our quote unquote team to sort of guide us through this world and the history and the performance practice that we have to follow. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for being a part of our team this weekend.
Sure.
Pleasure.
I know, really.
We appreciate it very much and are very much looking forward to your show on Saturday. And Mason Bates actually tweeted out yesterday that if he wasn't in Santa Fe doing his opera, the Steve Jobs opera, that he would want to be at your show.
That's very nice.
Well, I hear his opera's
Thanks.
pretty great.
Yeah, that's right.
So thank you so much for speaking with
welcome.
us. And tomorrow night at 8 p.m., you can still get tickets to see the show.
Yes, come out.
Oh.